What's up, everybody? Mike Lindsley back with you for an ML Sports Take. It's all brought to you by Stanley Law Offices, Elevate Fitness of Syracuse, and Brewerton Ace Hardware. A quick Super Bowl 56 recap. I thought it was a really good game. Really packed with drama. I thought the end was spectacular. The Rams had to put a drive together, and they did. I know that there are a lot of people out there, and I was getting into it last night on social media with a few people. And again, I don't know why I just can't not respond to anything, because once you respond just that one time, it just keeps going and going, and the floodgates open and people argue and it's nonstop. And other people come in and comment. Social media is literally at that moment the worst thing ever. But many people are complaining about the officiating down the stretch there. Listen, hands on the body. They're going to call that in some spots late in the game, beginning of the game. They're going to call those. I don't think the league is fixed. Listen, I know that there's news out there about, Brian Flores and others, getting paid money to lose games, or Hugh Jackson, I should say. The reality is that it's still hard to get 53 guys to buy into, just throwing the game away. These guys are competitors. And that's during any game, regular season, postseason, Super Bowl. For as bad as a couple of those calls were down the stretch that benefited the Rams, a huge swing play in this game was T. Higgins' touchdown for 75 yards, where he ripped Ramsey's face mask this way, right? He basically pulled it, right, almost all the way around. And then Ramsey falls off of that because he lost control. And then Higgins is wide open for just a teardrop pass from Joe Burrow, and he runs it in. And at that point, it started to look like Cincinnati's game, right? The turning point. Odell Beckham's injured. I'll get to him in a second. But, I thought that it was overall a really good game. I'm happy for a couple of the guys on the Rams who have legacies sort of cemented in a way. I mean, Cooper Kupp is on his way to a Hall of Fame career. Now he's a Super Bowl MVP and a champion. Matt Stafford finally gets his. Aaron Donald, one of the elite defenders we've ever seen, gets his ring. So Von Miller gets another ring. So there were some big time things there. Sean McVay, knocking on the door again, finally gets it as the head coach. So the Rams win the Super Bowl. Thought it was, again, a really good game. That third quarter, though, that play with T. Higgins, it was an enormous play. And then the Bengals get the ball back, kick a field goal, and then the Rams kick a field goal, and then the Rams needed a drive late in the fourth quarter. And in the second half, the Rams defensive line took over. In fact, I thought both defensive lines really set the tone in the beginning of this game. Both teams were kind of really unable to run the football. Mixon had a couple cracks here and there. The Rams were still obviously committed to it late in the game. You're wondering, why are you trying to do this? I mean, there were 43 yards combined running for the Rams and 79 for the Cincinnati Bengals. Matt Stafford got away with 2 picks, right? I mean, he threw 2 horrible balls, 4 interceptions, and then he got in trouble and could have thrown a couple of more. And that, look, Matt Stafford, really nice quarterback. He's probably right now a borderline Hall of Famer. He'll probably get in because now he has a ring. But here's the thing. I said this all year, and I got crucified in the playoffs when I said it. Matt Stafford is a risk-reward quarterback. He is more Brett Favre than he is, a Tom Brady. Right? He's more of a Fran Tarkenton or a Joe Namath, than he is, an Aaron Rodgers or somebody like that in terms of or Dan Marino, pure accuracy, pure not throwing as many interceptions, etc. He throws picks all the time. He led the NFL in interceptions this year. He threw a ball right to a Niner defender. It should have been picked off in the NFC title game. Matt Stafford is a risk-reward quarterback. It doesn't mean I'm taking anything away from him, because for every 2 interceptions he throws 3 unbelievable touchdown passes. For every couple interceptions he might throw during the regular season, he goes 28 of 38 for 410 and 4 touchdowns. So it's risk reward. I wasn't saying anything demeaning towards him. It's just that's how it is. So this was a fun game. I mean, I thought it was a really good, fun game. The defensive lines, really set the tone. But I think the Rams, just kind of turned it up a notch in the second half, man. I mean, the defensive line got really great pressure. And I think, also without Odell Beckham Jr. in there, I said before the Super Bowl, I thought he was going to be the X factor in this game. He proved my point when he caught a touchdown pass, and he was the guy who was getting the most space against that Bengals secondary. And then, oh, by the way, the Rams offense stalled when Beckham went out with the injury. So clearly he was a huge factor in this game. I talked about the 3-by-1 formation before the game as well, where the Rams sometimes line up the three on the one side and then one guy on the other. Then they started mixing it up in the beginning of the game because Odell Beckham Jr. wasn't the solo wide receiver on the one side with the three. He was paired, he was put with a couple other guys on that side, Cooper Kupp being one of them. So that was a very interesting game plan there. Just a lot of mix-up of plays and guys in different positions by Sean McVay and the Rams. And let's be honest, in the second half, the Rams defense took over. The best defensive line in the NFL, with Von Miller, with Floyd, with Aaron Donald and others, they took over. They continued to set the tone from the beginning of the game, like the Bengals D-line did, because they were getting to Stafford, obviously. The Rams were getting to Joe Burrow. I mean, look at this. 2 sacks for the Bengals, 7 sacks for the LA Rams. 7 sacks. Remember the Titans game? 9 sacks against Joe Burrow. They won that one. But it wasn't enough. Last night, 7 sacks. Jones gets 1. Robinson 1. Floyd 1. Donald 2. Von Miller 2. I mean, the Rams defense is elite. The defensive line is absolutely elite. So, really good game. I think the Bengals will definitely be heard from for years to come. Brighter days ahead. They made the Super Bowl. They turned things around quickly. Burrow, Chase. They've got some terrific defensive players. We'll see what they do in the draft. And as far as the Rams go, I mean, they shot their load, right? They put all the eggs in one basket many years to try and go win a Super Bowl, trading away future draft picks and all the rest. It paid off because they're champions. Right now, they're champions. Now, do I think they'll get back next year? I don't. Do I think the Bengals will get back next year? I don't. But I think that the Bengals will be heard from for a while. I think the Rams, you've got maybe a little bit of a window to maybe get back once or twice in the next 3 years. I think it's awfully hard to win, isn't it? But I think that they'll have an opportunity with some of these guys they have. But then once these guys are done, I think Beckham's a free agent. I don't even know what his health status is right now. It looked like that knee that he had surgery on recently just popped on him. And again, non-contact blow there to him. I hope he's okay. Cooper Kupp, he'll be there. Matt Stafford, Aaron Donald, some of those guys, you kind of build around, work, try to find some guys in the second, third, fourth rounds. They don't have a first round pick in forever, but it doesn't matter right now because the Rams are Super Bowl champions. And in the NFL, it's not how it was with the 2016 Chicago Cubs. Chicago Cubs, it took them 108 years to win a World Series. They finally did it with Chris Bryant and Addison Russell and all those guys, Kyle Schwarber, etc. John Lester. In baseball, they won the World Series, but then they still had a huge salary cap. And even though they made the playoffs a couple of years after that and all the rest, 6 years later, that complete team is just done and in disarray. And you kind of scratch your head at it because there's no cap in baseball. And they could have gone out and spent. They could have kept people. They could have kind of kept things going. 6 years from now, this Rams team is going to look completely different as well, but in a different way. And that's what my explanation here is. The Rams mortgaged the future for the present, and they got it done in a Super Bowl. The Cubs, they could have kept the beat going with their payroll and all the rest and keeping some franchise cornerstone guys. They didn't do that. Guys are just in different places now, right? Like Anthony Rizzo went to the Yankees. Schwarber, gone with the Red Sox, right? You had Chris Bryant with the Giants. You just had a bunch of guys go, and the Cubs could have easily prevented that and just kept spending money and doing it, so that they could kind of have a little bit of sustainability. As it turns out, that roster now is completely blown up. The Rams went all in for a couple of shots at a Super Bowl. They won one, but because of the structure of the NFL, the Rams will be a different team 5-6 years down the line. But they do have a couple more years here with some of these cornerstone guys. Let's see if they can try to get back. Thought it was a fun Super Bowl. 23-20. Rams, one more. Get it done. Super Bowl 56, pardon me. Look, just a lot of really great performances, right? I mean, T. Higgins' big play obviously got him a 100-yard game, which really should have been called that face mask. But Cooper Kupp was great. 8 catches, 92 yards, 2 touchdowns. Thought he could have been the co-MVP with Aaron Donald. But as it is, Kupp wins the MVP. Stafford had a solid game. The 3 T's, but the 2 picks. He had a solid game. It wasn't great. It wasn't awful. They couldn't run the ball. Nothing really going on there. And then just spectacular plays by the defense in the second half. Aaron Donald was absolutely unblockable. A couple of times where he got double, triple team. In the case where maybe they left him solo, he would have gotten 2, 3, 4 more sacks. I'm convinced of that. He's one of the great elite generational players we've ever seen on that side of the ball. Bengals, we'll hear from them soon. We'll see what happens in that division. That's a weak division right now. I think the Ravens will be back, to at least some kind of success. Again, they got to get that roster healthy, right? The Steelers are in disarray because they don't have a quarterback yet, but again, Mike Tomlin, great coach. They'll figure out a way to at least compete and be somewhat there. We'll see what happens with the Browns and Baker Mayfield and company, but the Bengals, they come back and they should be the favorite to win that division. Again, Mike Lindsley with you here. It's a Super Bowl 56 recap. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to my channel, download and subscribe to the ML Sports Platter podcast all over the major platforms like Spotify, Google, Apple, Stitcher, Deezer, iHeartMusic, and more. Just hit that subscribe button, hit the follow button, and leave reviews, 5 stars, you name it. It helps an awful lot. We are brought to you by our good friend Brian Conboy of Mass Mutual, New York State, Rosie's Corner, Brewerton Ace Hardware, and our terrific friends over at Camillus Golf Club. Go ahead and get your membership for this summer, 2022, at Camillus Golf Club today. Visit CamillusHillsGolfClub.com. They've got 18 holes of spectacular golf, great views, awesome greens, and a terrific bar and restaurant to go eat after your round. Camillus Golf Club is the official golf club of the ML Sports Platter. As I always tell you, enjoy the games.